What my grandmother put in that pot wasn't written anywhere. It was a secret she kept for over 40 years. And when I discovered the final ingredient, I understood why our family never fell apart, even when all seemed lost. This recipe has never been shared before. Today, for the first time, I'm going to share what really went on in that kitchen. Welcome to Grandma's Diaries. Here, every secret still throbs like embers in a wood-burning stove. Subscribe to the channel to discover the mysteries our grandmothers kept in their kitchens. Recipes that cured more than just hunger and saved entire families. And tell me in the comments, what scent takes you straight to your grandmother's lap? It was always on Wednesday that the smell began. A smell that no longer exists in today's world. That doesn't come from recipe books. That has no name in the city's markets. A flowered apron came out of the drawer. The blue scarf tied back her gray hair. And her hands began to work in silence. But what she did wasn't just cooking. It was something I only understood decades later. It was magic disguised as food. "Come here, girl," she called me in that voice that still echoes in my memory. "Today you will learn our family's most important secret." But I never imagined I was about to discover how to cure sadness, the recipe that would save our family through the most difficult years to come. "First, we cleanse our hearts," she said. I thought she was talking about the spices. How wrong I was. She was talking about forgiveness, about cleansing the soul before touching food. Because that recipe had a terrible secret. It didn't work with anger in the chest. It didn't work with pent-up resentment. It only worked with a heart cleansed of resentment. "Get the corn, girl," she begged. But it wasn't just any corn. It was the corn she planted herself in her backyard. Corn she talked about while watering. Corn she blessed before harvest. "It has to be corn that you saw grow," he explained. "Corn that drank from your water, that grew with your prayer." Then came the milk. Not the dead milk of the city. The milk of the cow Mimosa, whom she treated like her own daughter. Milk always taken at 5 in the morning, while she whispered words I didn't understand. And the sugar. The sugar was the first real mystery. It came from a can hidden high up in the cupboard. A can that never ran out. A can she only opened for this recipe. "This sugar is different," she whispered as if someone could hear. "It's sugar blessed 3 times. It's sugar that has already comforted more than 100 people." But there was something else, an ingredient she never named, that she added when she thought I wasn't looking. They were her own tears. Grandma didn't cook. She celebrated a sacred ritual. Every gesture was a silent prayer. The wood-burning stove in the backyard was lit first. Never the gas stove in the kitchen. It had to be a fire she made herself. A fire born from her own hands. "The fire has to know who it's going to cook with," she explained. "It can't be a strange fire. It has to be our fire." As the flames grew, she closed her eyes, and I saw her lips moving in silent prayer. She was asking for permission. Permission to heal. Permission to intervene in the pain of others. The corn was slowly shredded, each kernel treated as if it were a diamond. Her hands moved in time with a song she never sang out loud, but one I could feel in the air. "You can't rush," she taught me. "Food cooked in a hurry only feeds the stomach. It doesn't reach the heart." And as she worked, she told stories. Stories of other people she had already cured. Without naming names. Without sharing details. Just whispering that the recipe had already saved many lives. The milk flowed drop by drop, as if each drop were a mother's kiss, a liquid caress that transformed corn into love. It was 1987, the year that nearly destroyed our family. My Uncle João had lost his job at the factory. He'd been out of work for 6 months. Sadness weighed on his shoulders like a sack of stones. He arrived that Wednesday unlike any other. His eyes were red from crying. His hands were shaking with despair. And there was a crumpled letter in his pocket. It was the eviction notice. They were going to throw him, his wife, and their 3 children out of the house. Grandma didn't ask anything. She just looked at me and whispered, "Today is the day to cook with double faith." I didn't understand what it meant, but I saw her add double the sugar, double the milk, and her tears fell twice as much too. While the canjica cooked, Uncle João cried at the kitchen table. "I don't know what to do anymore, Mom," he sobbed. "I can't even look my children in the eye." Grandma didn't say a word. He just kept stirring the pot, with that wooden spoon that was at least 50 years old, stirring clockwise, always clockwise. "Why always on the same side, Grandma?" I asked. "Because we're inviting luck," she replied. "Moving to the other side scares away the blessings." When the canjica was ready, she served it in a blue bowl. Always in the blue bowl. The same bowl she used for all her cures. "Eat slowly," she urged Uncle John. "And while you eat, think of the good things. Remember your children laughing. Remember your wife hugging you. Let the food wash away the sadness." Uncle João ate in silence. Each spoonful seemed to calm something inside him. His face relaxed, his shoulders straightened, his hands stopped shaking. "You know, Mom," he said after the last sip, "I remembered something." And he told a story I'd never heard before, about when he was little and Grandma made the same canjica. The day my grandfather had lost his entire harvest, and how the next day a buyer showed up who paid double the expected price. "That canjica saved our family," he said, and I had completely forgotten. The next morning, something impossible happened. The phone rang before 7 in the morning. It was Uncle John's old boss, offering a better job than the one he'd lost. "Is it a coincidence, Grandma?" I asked. She smiled that way only grandmothers can smile. "There's no such thing as a coincidence, girl. There's faith at work." But the most shocking part was yet to come. When Uncle John went to sign the contract, he discovered something shocking. The owner of the company was the son of a woman Grandma had cured years before, with the same recipe, in the same blue bowl. Years passed. I grew up, got married, had children, but I never forgot the mysterious recipe. And whenever someone in the family was going through a hard time, Grandma would appear with her miraculous canjica. It wasn't until she was 89 that she decided to tell me the truth she'd never told anyone. Not my mother, not my grandfather, not anyone. "Sit here, girl," she called to me in her now weaker voice. "It's time you knew what really happens when I cook." And then she revealed the most beautiful and most painful secret I have ever heard in my life. "The prescription doesn't cure anything," she began. "What cures it is the love we put into it, and the time we spend together." She explained that during the 2 hours it took to make the canjica, she prayed, praying for the person she was about to eat, asking God to transform that pain into strength, that sadness into hope. "But why didn't you ever tell me this before?" I asked. "Because if I did, it wouldn't work anymore," she whispered. "The secret had to stay a secret." When Grandma Maria died in 2003, I thought the secret had died with her, that no one would ever again be cured by that recipe, that the magic had been lost forever. The house was empty. The kitchen was silent. The wood-burning stove was cold. But 15 days after the funeral, something called me to that kitchen. It was a Wednesday. My daughter had come home from school crying. The other kids had laughed at her because of her braces. Without knowing why, I found myself searching for the ingredients. The corn from the backyard. the milk from the neighboring farm, the sugar from the mysterious can that was still in the cupboard. My hands moved on their own, as if Grandma were guiding every gesture, and as I grated the corn, I began to pray, like she did, for my daughter, that the pain would turn into strength. When I served my daughter the canjica, something unexpected happened. She didn't just stop crying. She started smiling and talking about how she was going to deal differently with the kids at school. "Mom," she said, "while I ate, I remembered all the times you told me I was special. And I realized that being different isn't bad." The next day, she came home from school beaming. She had made 3 new friends, children who also had braces, and they all wanted to meet the mom who makes the best canjica in the world. That's when I understood. The secret hadn't died with Grandma. It had passed to me. And it wasn't about the recipe. It was about love. Today, 35 years later, I still make that canjica. For my children, for my grandchildren, for anyone who comes home with a broken heart. And I discovered something wonderful. Every person who eats canjica with love learns to make it too. Not because I teach the recipe, but because love teaches itself. My daughter-in-law learned it when her husband became unemployed. My neighbor learned it when she lost her mother. My friend learned it when her son moved away from home. Everyone does it differently, with different ingredients, in different pans, but the result is the same, because they've discovered the real secret. It's not what you put in the pot, it's what you put in your heart. Now you know the secret Grandma Maria kept for 40 years. The recipe that cured sadness wasn't a recipe at all. It was love in the form of time. It was attention in the form of care. It was faith in the form of canjica. Any food can heal. Any dish can be medicine, as long as it's made with loving hands and served by someone who cares. The secret ingredient has always been the same, since the dawn of time, since mothers and grandmothers existed. Since the dawn of time, since mothers and grandmothers existed, since someone decided to turn flour into affection. It was love. It was always love. It will always be love. If this story touched your heart like it did mine, if you also have a grandmother who healed with food, or if you're someone who cooks with love, tell me in the comments, what's your recipe for curing sadness? Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the stories I still have to tell. And prepare your hearts for next week, when I reveal what we discovered inside the iron pot Grandma hid in the attic for 50 years. What we found inside changed everything we knew about our family.